Albert Einstein, a renowned theoretical physicist and philosopher, once said, "I believe pipe smoking contributes to a somewhat calm and objective judgment in all human affairs." If there's any one artifact that has perennially been linked to the Watonga people, even before their displacement from the banks of the Zambezi River, it is their smoking pipe.
In Zimbabwe, whenever anyone sees you holding this object, this Tonga cultural object, people start talking of mbanje and the likes. Very sad indeed. This cultural object, the smoking pipe, locally known as Ndombonda or Inchelwa, is a great scientific invention by the Tonga people. So there is a lot of science, if you want, embedded in Tonga culture. This object is not for smoking mbanje. It's a smoking gadget for smoking tobacco. The second correction that I want to make is this is only used by women. It's a gender-sensitive object, cultural object. So you can actually see that Tonga culture is gender-sensitive. Why is it only used by women? This gadget has a complex filtering system that is meant for women. The men used a shorter version called Intale, which has no filtering system because the belief then was men are stronger than women. In Tonga culture, women are smokers as well. So there was need to filter the tobacco so that it does not have a serious negative effect on their health. The science behind this gadget is so important that today we should be having this gadget being studied in schools, universities, and colleges.
While the Tonga smoking pipe may be a complex scientific object, to these old Watonga women, the pipe is just a simple tool for smoking pleasure.
Banene, animpo eshininzi.
Nincherwa. Bataweza ntanga mwanangu twaguganga mumunda. Pondura ganga mumunda. Bwanda rutangoya rwazira bana bacho. Poni aja nchereyo. Ukutegwa ti gogomani. Batwabikaga samutu ati. Poni ni asima. Twagukisha ino twagera. Twagudonkola awa. Nitwa donkola twatobeka mu manzi yaraso. Ya nche. Yabomba. Yabomba twagwisha ntanga ziri mu gatomya. Twabika eri nditete tuyijana mu mulonga. Muto yijana. Pona nitwa zwawa. Yabanche banti. Yakwepwa manje. Yabanche yalirima.
Nene mpo ekinyinzi.
Oyo mwana ancherwa bwagali bulongo takabumba ndibanyoguru. Nindagabumba ni agayuma takabika mu muliro tatenta kutubobu kutusime.
The pipe is homemade out of locally available material. But what is the science behind this object?
The water is poured inside this smoking pipe, and that water acts as a filter that traps the nicotine and tar that we find in tobacco. Water is a much better filter that traps those impurities. When the water here gets saturated with impurities, the old ladies have that knowledge to know that this water is now full of impurities. It cannot attract or it cannot hold any more impurities. They will change the water and put fresh water. As the woman eventually smokes from this end, a bubbling sound is heard since the air being drawn past through the water. Today, if you ask these old women why water is put in this gourd or in this smoking pipe, they will tell you that it's meant for us to have that bubbling sound. It's another sad thing that we have. But it also points to the gap that now exists between generations. The passing on of knowledge from one generation to the other is now missing. Why? Because the platforms whereon knowledge was passed on from one generation to the other have been disintegrated. When we talk of the resettlement and the disintegration of Tonga culture, this is one of the results. Then when the water is poured inside, this basin is put here. That's the position of this basin. And this basin is meant to take the tobacco, because then put the tobacco inside. In some instances, you have these old women putting sorghum on top of the tobacco. And one would ask why he put sorghum on top of the tobacco. That is simply meant to give flavor to the tobacco. Right? When you put the tobacco inside, you also put the charcoal that is meant to burn the tobacco. And remember, whenever tobacco is not completely burnt, it becomes hazardous, really hazardous to health. So there's need for complete combustion. Right? To achieve that, they put this metal cap on top. Right? This metal cap is meant to ensure that heat is not lost to the environment, and therefore complete combustion of the tobacco. But you can also see that there are some gaps left here and some perforations that have been made on this metal cap. That is to allow oxygen, because there cannot be complete combustion without oxygen. This cap is also meant to make sure that the charcoal is also not easily lost to the ground and therefore cause wildfires and stuff. So it is also a number of purposes. If you ask the old women, they will then smoke from this end. As they smoke, they draw the air from this end. It goes in the water, right? And then the impurities are trapped in the water, and the water also cools down the smoke from this end.
Utegwa uri kubwete shamu ya mwati
ubwete shamu ya mwati
uri kuti ya bibu
ndi imbwa bari ndakamva kuti angamubika lubangu
ilubange lwaba lukwepa akwana kuti wonse muntu mazuru kwepa lubange iba kwepa lubange mpuma lwa kwepa lubange bati mazubano bakaja.
I would argue that Mbanje is not indigenous to Binga. If anyone can prove to me that Mbanje is indigenous to Binga, then I will have to make corrections myself. Right? Second, this gadget is much earlier than the coming of marijuana, if you want, to Africa. The Tonga had shrubs that they smoked before the coming in of marijuana or Virginia tobacco, if you want. These were shrubs that they found in their forests. I think you know that the Tonga people had gardens along the banks of the river. When Virginia tobacco was introduced to them, they appreciated it in terms of its flavor, and therefore they went on to plant it in their gardens. So this smoking pipe, for me, while some people see an object of stereotype, for me, this is one of the greatest achievements of the Tonga people. And this is one of the fundamental pillars of Tonga culture as a cultural object.
Yeah.